Hello, this is Paula from Emotional Support for All. Women, are you in a domestic violence relationship? It's hard to admit, isn't it? You've gone from this picture perfect marriage relationship to a whole variety of things, emotional abuse, physical abuse, financial abuse, heaven forbid, sexual abuse, coercive control, manipulation. The list goes on and on and on, doesn't it? But did you know that there are helplines out there, there are charities out there that can help and support you getting out of that relationship? Where we live, in the area I live, there are two companies. One is called Women's Aid, that is quite nationally known, and the other one is called NIDAS. It depends what area you live in. So, what I would say is if you go online and have a look at your nearest domestic violence support, you will get your nearest centres that come up with phone calls, emails. A lot of them have drop-ins where you just turn up on certain days. You can go and speak to a professional qualified member of staff who's qualified in domestic violence, and they can talk through your options with you, tell you your rights. This could be rights on any mortgages, advice on solicitors, you name it. If you need help with courts, with the children, um, they're pretty much got a lot of information on pretty much everything. They can signpost you to GPs. They can give you what's called a supporting letter, which you can take to any solicitors, and it can help you qualify for legal aid. Yeah, it just gives you a wide spec of information and knowledge that you might not be aware of. It's a totally confidential service. The only time anything is ever really breached is if there's any safeguarding concerns that they might have about you or your children. And all of us have a duty of care in any profession. So, please don't let that deter you from going to one of these centres or drop-ins, because most people, they have a duty of care. It's as simple as that. So if they don't tell you, they've probably passed it on anyway. This is what happens when the police come out. So say, for example, you've had a domestic violence incident at home, you've called the police come out. As soon as they know there are children in that property, they will put a mass referral into the social services. And this is where you get these referrals from. What happens on that incident is they also send a referral to Women's Aid, and then Women's Aid will just ring up and they'll check, call, give you a check-in. How are things? Do you need any support with anything? It might be that you decline at that time because you don't feel that you want any more professionals, or you don't really feel comfortable with speaking to anybody, or it might just be that you do not think you're in a domestic violence relationship. If you've had that police come out to your property for any incident like that, you are in a domestic violence relationship. And, you know, these centres are not there to force you into doing anything. Everything is consent based by the woman. So, it could be for some emotional support. If you just want somebody to listen to you for a period of time, um, give you advice and options when you're on the phone, tell you what's a fact and what's a myth, because you do get that a lot with domestic abuse. And it's somebody that you can talk through, that perhaps is not on one side or the other. You tend to find that, don't you, that you get people on his side or her side, or they've heard little bits in between and think they know all the story. So yeah, don't let that put you off. Even if you have one phone call or you do one drop-in centre and you feel it's not for you anymore, then that's fine. There's absolutely no pressure. Just because you've been once does not mean that you can't go again. They have brilliant programs on that can give you all the knowledge around domestic abuse. So it could be, what are red flags in a relationship? What does a healthy relationship look like? Um, and the list goes on and on and on. So, yeah, if you are wanting some extra support, please have a look online for your local, it might be your local Women's Aid, it might be your local NIDAS, that's another name of a domestic abuse charity, or it might be Women's Aid England, that comes up a lot of the time on the internet. Have a look for your nearest space. And you know what? If you don't know, solicitor perhaps should know, the police will know where to get in contact with this service. It's all free. You do not have to pay a penny for this service. So yeah, if you are needing any support, don't feel embarrassed. Don't feel, ashamed, or, domestic abuse can happen to anybody. It's something that's there, isn't it, that a lot of people don't like to acknowledge or to talk about, or people like to believe that it's not true, but it is very much true. And it's harsh, but people are getting really hurt in these relationships, and sometimes a lot worse than that. I don't think I'm allowed to say the word, but you know where I'm going with it. This is a serious thing. These things do not get any better. These perpetrators don't just wake up one day and think, oh, I won't do this anymore. They will. It's not very often, sorry, that people do change. And again, it's about having the knowledge, where to seek the advice if you need it. Again, if you need to flee and you need to get out of that property, for example, today, they will help you do that. They will know who to contact, whether that be the councils or women's refuges. So again, even if you just want some advice for now and you don't want to give your name, then just give them a call, look them up on the internet, and it may well save your life, women, and again, there's no pressure whatsoever. No one judges you. And trust me, whatever story you have, they'll have heard worse. So please remember this video. Like, share it, help as many people as you can. You might have friends that are living in domestic violence relationships, and you're not quite sure how to support. You might be in that relationship yourself, and you're feeling a bit, I'm not sure if it is a domestic violence relationship. Then just pick up the phone. The number are free. And you can have someone to talk to pretty much straight away. Again, if you are feeling a little bit down and your mental health is suffered, please always seek professional GP advice. But yeah, if you don't do anything else today, please remember this video, and if it helps a few people, then I'm happy with that. And it'll be the best 8 minutes that you've probably listened to for a while. So yeah, take care of yourself, be kind to yourself, and remember, there is support out there. You do not need to suffer this on your own. Domestic violence is real, and it is happening, and it won't stop unless somebody makes some changes. Remember, you are a lot stronger than you think you are. You can leave these relationships. You do not have to put up with it, and you do not deserve any of it. And these people need to be held accountable for their actions. And if you don't want to go down that route, the safest option would just be to leave. Then these agencies will help you do that. So yeah, just bear that in mind. Painful videos, aren't they? But it is worth knowing. Thank you for listening. Take care of yourself. Bye bye.